Hello, and welcome to your American Accent English training. My name is Alyssa, and today we are going to talk about intonation. Now, you might ask yourself, what is intonation and what does it have to do with pronunciation? I promise you, if you watch this video carefully and really practice what I'm about to teach you, it will take your English to the next level and it will make you sound so much more natural. Intonation is the musical quality in a language. Every language has a sort of rhythm, cadence, how high and low or the pitch of the words, the stress on certain words, the way you emote what you're speaking. That is what intonation is. Spanish has its own intonation and English has its own intonation. I am sure you have heard two Americans speaking and you've thought to yourself that it's a certain characteristic way of how they speak. And you might have wanted to speak that way, but haven't been able to know how. This lesson is about that. It's about intonation and how to make yourself sound more natural. A lot of times when a person is learning a language, they're focusing so much on the grammar and now the pronunciation that they forget that there's emotion behind the words. There's a meaning behind the words, and you have to use intonation to show that meaning. So today we're going to talk about that. We'll start simple, because it can sort of get a little more complex as we go on. But we'll start simple. First, we're going to talk about words with more than one syllable. Words with more than one syllable in English tend to have a stress on one of the syllables. In a word with two syllables, the stress is usually on the first syllable. This is a very big generalization. There are many exceptions. It is not a hard and fast rule, but I'm teaching you this because in general, this is where the stress is. This is also important for you to be exposed to the idea that there are stresses in English. There are accents on certain syllables. Even if you can't see an accent, that doesn't mean that certain syllables aren't accented. So this is an introduction to that idea so you can get used to hearing it. Think about the word music. That's two syllables. Music. Now, if we don't use any stress, it would be music. And that's incorrect. If we stress the second syllable, it would be music. And that sounds funny, because that's incorrect too. The correct way to say it is music. And the stress is on the first syllable. Music. Do you hear that? Try it with me. Music. Try it. Did you hear it? Are you doing it? Are you saying it? I hope so. The stress on most two-syllable words is on the first syllable. We're going to practice a bunch of them right now. So let's practice two-syllable words with the stress on the first syllable. Here we go. Better. Suspend. Never. Seldom. Member. Table. Present. Export. China. Purple. Rainy. Samples. Student. Quiet. Did you hear that stress on the first syllable? I know this can be stressful sometimes for students to hear this. It's a new concept that there are stresses in English. But if you really listen and pay attention, you will notice that they're there. And the more you practice it, the more it will become like second nature to you. So keep practicing it. Now, many times the stress is on the second syllable, and there tends to be a pattern with that. Oftentimes, the same word word has two different meanings based on where the stress is in the word. Many times we'll have a word that is stressed on the first syllable, and that is a noun version of that word. You remember what a noun is, right? It's a person, place, or thing. Now, sometimes that exact same word has a stress on the second syllable, and when it does that, it becomes a verb. And you remember what a verb is, that's an action. So by changing where the stress is, you actually change the meaning of the word. It goes from a noun to a verb. I'm going to give you some examples and you'll see, okay? Insult. That's the noun version of the word. An insult. Now, if we change where the accent is, where the stress is, to insult, it becomes a verb. He insulted me. Insult. Try it. Insult. Perfect. Okay, so let's keep with that theme. The first one will be stressed on the first syllable. That's the noun. The second one will be stressed on the second syllable. That's the verb. Here we go. Project. Project. Object. Object. Convict. Convict. Present. Present. Record. Record. Contrast. Contrast. Conflict. Conflict. Okay, so excellent job with those noun and verb differences. So remember that when you stress a word differently, it could actually change the meaning of the word. Now let's talk about three-syllable words. In three-syllable words, the accent is on the second syllable, the syllable in the middle. Once again, this is not a hard and fast rule. There are lots of exceptions to it, but I want to introduce you to the idea of stresses in words, where a stress is in a word. And in general, for a three-syllable word, the stress is on the second syllable. Okay? Let's practice some. Decision. Iconic. Religion. Procedure. Delicious. Museum. Offensive. Advisor. Rotation. However. Okay, now let's look at some four-syllable words that also have the accent or the stress on the second syllable. Okay? Democracy. Photography. Geology. Excellent. Very good. Okay, now let's try some sentences that combine what we learned. They'll have two-syllable and three-syllable words. Remember, stress on the first syllable for a two-syllable word, on the second syllable for a three-syllable word. Here we go. I want to travel to China and record all the iconic places that I can. My little sister learned a lot about democracy at the museum last week. I met a quiet student in my photography mother left her purple umbrella on my table exactly on a rainy day. Now we're going to move on to a different concept. And that's sort of the idea of conveying meaning of what you want to say based on what word you stress in a sentence. Okay? So, when you say a sentence, it could hold a lot of different meanings based on what word you stress. Think about this sentence. I didn't say you stole my red sweater. I didn't say you stole my red sweater. Now, when I just said that, I didn't stress any words. I just said it monotone without any stress. Now, I'm going to change the meaning of what I want to say, saying the exact same sentence, but using a different stress. Listen, I didn't say you stole my red sweater. Now, when I say it like that, it changes the meaning. Maybe somebody else said that you stole the red sweater, and I didn't say it, simply because I stressed one word. Try that sentence with me. I didn't say you stole my red sweater. Excellent. Okay. Now, same sentence, different stress. I didn't say you stole my red sweater. Now, in that version, perhaps I said somebody else stole it, and I wasn't blaming you. Listen again and repeat. I didn't say you stole my red sweater. Excellent. Very good. I didn't say you stole my red sweater. Now, in this one, perhaps I said you stole someone else's red sweater. It just didn't belong to me, but I know you stole it. It's a different meaning. Try it. I didn't say you stole my red sweater. Excellent. Next one. I didn't say you stole my red sweater. Perhaps I said you stole my green sweater. I didn't say you stole my red sweater. I said you stole my red dress, perhaps. Right? A different piece of clothing. Try it. I didn't say you stole my red sweater. Perfect. It's fun, isn't it, to stress different words and change the meaning of the sentence. Remember, when you want to convey the meaning of something, you have to use your voice and emotion to convey that meaning. You do it all the time in Spanish, but you have to do it in English to make yourself sound more natural. Okay? Now, let's move on to the next topic. We're going to talk about different types of statements. Statements or questions in English. The pitch in your voice determines whether something is a question or a statement. When I say pitch, I mean how high or how low your voice is. Now, you don't just go high and low all over the place to make it sound wonderful, like you're singing a song. No, that would be crazy. But when we say certain statements or questions in English, we actually have very specific pitches that we use in order to show that something is a statement or a question. Okay? Think about this statement. We are going to eat chicken for dinner. Now, you might not have heard it, but I used different pitch when I said that statement. In general, we often stress verbs when we say statement. I'm going to eat chicken for dinner. We also change the pitch in our voice. We start off at sort of a medium pitch. We are going to eat chicken for dinner. And we glide down. We go up right before we glide down at the end. And it ends on a down note. We are going to eat chicken for dinner. Try that. the negative word in the statement to show that it is negative, correct? So, the pitch pattern is the same as in a statement, in a positive statement, but we are stressing the negative word. For example, he doesn't speak French. He doesn't speak French. Same pitch pattern with it going up at the end, but a stress on the negative part. He doesn't speak French, so he won't understand you. Did you get it? Okay, let's try this one. She did not eat dinner yesterday. My family doesn't like Christmas. I didn't go to Disneyland. Excellent. Very good job. Let's move on to the third type of statement. These are yes-no questions. Questions that you can only answer with a yes or a no, and they begin with a verb. We usually start in a middle pitch, go down slightly, and from there go up, 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 till we end on a high pitch. Listen to this example. Are we going to eat chicken for dinner? Are we going to eat chicken for dinner? It's up, 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 as we ask the question. So now we know we're asking a question. We're not making a statement. Let's try some more examples. Should we buy a new car? Is this meeting important for you? Did you call Mom? Did you take my phone? Is she 25 years old? Excellent. Very good job. Okay, the next type of statement is another question. Now, this is an open-ended question. So these are questions that begin with what, where, when, why, and you can answer anything to them, right? This is more similar to the statement. You start in the middle pitch, you go down, you stay down, and at the end, just like we said, dinner, you go up and glide down. So, let's do some more examples. How old are you? Good. Where are we going for my birthday? What's her favorite restaurant? What time did you get here? Who did you go with? Excellent. Are you hearing those patterns in these different statements? Now, this last one is the most fun. This is a clarification question. Now, remember the question that I just asked. What are we going to eat for dinner? Now, suppose I asked that and I heard the answer, octopus. And I thought, octopus? That seems strange, and I want to ask a clarification question. My pitch changes completely. So I ask, what are we going to eat for dinner? And I hear octopus, and I reply, what are we going to eat for dinner? Now that goes way, 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 way high. The pitch goes way up because I'm trying to get a clarification, because I'm in disbelief. The higher your pitch is, the more surprise there is in your voice. So the higher you get, the more surprised you are. So try it. What are we going to eat for dinner? Very good. Now, suppose I ask, where will you go next month? And I hear, Bangkok. Where will you go next month? Try that. Very good. Somebody asked, where did you say we are going? And I hear, the jungle. And I think, where did you say we're going? See how I go way up because I don't understand? Where did you say we're going? Try it. Now, this last part is all about emotion, how we're expressing the emotion that we feel in a sentence. This is true in Spanish. This is true in any language. You wouldn't say, I had a terrible day. It doesn't make any sense because it doesn't express the emotion behind the words. The words have a meaning, and your emotions should be the same as the meaning of the words. Now, this seems simple and a concept that you already know and you're doing in Spanish, but here's the problem. When you're thinking so hard about grammar and pronunciation, sometimes the emotion goes out the window, and people who are not native speakers tend to sound like robots. So instead of putting any emotion, it's flat. I had a terrible day. Sounds like a robot if you don't put any emotion into it. And it sounds, quite frankly, wrong. And people will be able to pick out that you're not a native speaker, even if your grammar is perfect, even if your pronunciation is perfect. If you don't have the correct emotion, it will be obvious that you are overthinking and that you are not speaking as a native speaker. So we want to sound like native speakers, so we have to add some of that emotion. Let's practice different emotions in our sentences, in our speech, okay? Here we go. Here's some examples. It was an awesome day. I worked all morning as usual, but at noon, my husband surprised me with a bouquet of flowers. He truly is the best, and I love him so much because of it. Okay, so, now that first one was obviously happiness. So this one is more like confusion. Okay. To be honest with you, I don't remember exactly. It might be because I was so sick, so I was in bed all day long. Besides sleeping, I didn't do anything special, but I feel better now. Okay, now, this next one is surprise, total surprise. There's going to be a lot of high pitches in here because there's a lot of surprise, okay? Here we go. You got married? When? I can't believe it. You have always been so spontaneous. Can I see the ring? You have to show me all the pictures. Congratulations. Okay, very good. Excellent job. Okay, so English is so much more fun when you put emotion into it. I think you would have to agree that it's a lot more fun when you show the emotion that you're feeling behind the words. This was fun today. I hope you understood it. I hope you had a good time, and I hope that you keep practicing it. And quite frankly, even if you exaggerate it and it feels silly, it is going to sound better than speaking like a robot. So exaggerate it, go over the top, go crazy, and you will sound better than speaking like a robot. I promise. Excellent job.